Oh, can't hear.
Okay. Daniel Smith can't hear. Have you tried checking to see whether your audio is connected properly, Daniel? Oh, you can't hear. I might as well type it.
It's in the waiting room. Let's just let them know. Time is it now? That is the waiting room empty for now, and it's
It is. I'll keep an eye on it.
yeah, it's 5 past, so we'll make a start. Okay, so thanks so much for coming along tonight, everybody. We've got the next screen, Gareth. We need that. So this is what we're hoping to run through this evening. Some of you will have met us at the weekend, but not everybody. Just a little bit of a information about the Jamboree again. We'll be looking at the costs, talking about the COVID-19, what happens now, and then any questions. If you could put your questions in the chat, we'll keep an eye on those. Hopefully some of them will be answered as we go through the evening, and then we'll spend a bit of time at the end just going through those. So hopefully we won't keep you too long this evening. The idea was to get you all together at the end of the afternoon on Sunday, but obviously the weather got the better of us and we thought it better to get everybody home. So this is a joint evening now for those that were there on Sunday, and also for those that will be joining us this coming Sunday. So for those that don't know me, I'm Louise, who is the unit leader for the Jamboree. And then we have, if you want to wave as I mention your names, Rachel, who's my deputy. We have Gareth, who's also one of the assistant leaders and is in charge of the tech this evening. And then we have Christy, who has mastered the art of the nice background, and she is the other assistant leader. So Sunday was actually the first time that we'd all worked together. So it was a little bit scary for us as well as perhaps some of you. Okay, Gareth, next one, please. There we are. That's all of us. We all look a little bit different for that. There's some quite scary photos on there. But just to let you know, the Jamboree, as I'm sure you're aware, is made up of units from all over the world. They are expecting over 40,000 young people there, with about 3,500 or just over from the UK made up of the units. The UK is looking at sending around 90 units. So that's 36 young people and 4 leaders. So there's going to be a large contingent from the UK, and then also ISP, which is the International Service Team, and then the team at National, the management team that are looking after us and supporting us. So we are going to be quite a big chunk of the actual Jamboree itself. Next one then, Gareth, I think. So the dates, hopefully you know these dates already.
Liters of Scopes Winter Gin, and I'm just going to top it up with the artisan.
If you're not on mute, can I just ask that you put yourselves on mute, please, that part. So the Jamboree is from the 1st to the 12th of August 2023. At the moment, we don't know whether our pre and post event will be before the Jamboree or after. In years gone by, it's usually been a few days at the beginning and a few days at the end. But we think that this time it's either going to be either all at the beginning. Oh, someone can't hear me. Can other people hear? Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Yeah, okay. So we think this time it's going to either be all at the beginning or all at the end. At the moment, we're asking you to keep those dates free and up to a week either side at the moment. But we're sort of expecting, because Leicestershire, we have our summer holidays early, it's a bit of a guess, but we're sort of expecting that our pre-Jamboree event will be before then. But obviously I can't give you any more information on that at the moment. And it does tend to be a bit of a mix between a big city experience and then something else, looking at the country that we're in. Just as an example, those that went to the last Jamboree in America, they had some time in Washington or New York and things, and then went up to Canada for some time afterwards. So we haven't got any more information on that at the minute, other than there will be either a pre or post event added onto the Jamboree. That's a picture of the site as to how they're expecting it to look. Hopefully a lot of you have had a chance to have a look at the place that we're staying at. Saymangum is the name of the area, and it's sort of like a dike, or what you might call a bridge that links off part of the country onto the left hand side. So it's worth having a look. So it's very much a coastal area, which I think will be quite nice, because it is likely to be quite hot. So we hope there'll be a bit of a cooling breeze. The Jamboree does very much aim towards looking at sustainability, and that's why we were looking at that to some extent on our last weekend, last Sunday. Very much engaging and looking at Promise to the Planet, which Scouts nationally are looking at, and also looking at engaging young people in the planning of the event, and can we get there carbon neutral, what can we do to offset our journey and things like that. So there'll be a lot of information about sustainability. Activities, I'm sure you have all had a look at the Jamboree. There are going to be some amazing activities. I myself, watching it, want to do the zip line over the water, but we will see if we get a chance to do that. So it will be a huge, great big mixture of adrenaline type activities, but also some more quieter ones and all sorts of things, so it will appeal to everybody. The main thing being mixing with people from all over the world and getting to know them as well, and joining in their cultures. Okay, Gareth, next please. So that's the Promise to the Planet. I've mentioned that now, sorry. We can move on to the next one. The costs. Okay, so this is the big question. I'm sure a lot of you are going to ask us. You can probably remember from before, National have said, the Scout Association have said that the Jamboree will not cost any more than £4,500. We've done quite a bit of work in Leicestershire. We have had to put our budget to the county finance team, and they have accepted our budget. So the cost for Unit 13, again, is a no more than, but is no more than £4,180. Obviously, we've had to put some best guesses on some of the things, and as time moves on, we're hoping to do things to bring that down. But this fee does include what's listed there, and I'll go on to mention that. If you look at other counties, you will see that I would imagine that every county in the country is charging something different. We've had the fee from National that they are going to charge us, and then each county adds things on top of that. We made a decision, or Leicestershire made a decision a number of Jamborees ago, to give you the cost of the whole package, rather than saying this is the cost to National, but then we are going to charge you for every camp that you go on, every event where you perhaps go and do something, so you don't really have an idea of how much it's going to cost. In Leicestershire, we do it that we give you a not more than fee for the total for the event. So it does include the camp fee, travel to the event, obviously the food while we're on there. The UK contingent will have a uniform, and that usually includes kit bag, rucksack, tentage and everything is provided, and sort of the smart uniform, so shirt, trousers, that sort of thing. The next bit I've numbered it, I've said the Unit 13 number 2s. So the sort of kit that we would want you to wear so that you can be identified as from Leicestershire, from Unit 13. but it won't be your smart uniform kit. So I mean, obviously as young people, you'll decide on what you want, but it's like to be like a hoodie, base layers with our unit badge on, so that we are seen as being part of that. And that's the sort of thing we'd ask you to wear when we don't want you in full uniform. It includes our pre-event training, so the camps that we do, the days that we do, and all that sort of thing. So we won't be asking you to pay for bits on top. The basic insurance that the Scout Association gives us, that's organised through Unity. So that will cover you personally for attending the event, and our sort of camping. What it won't cover is expensive cameras and things like that. So if you feel that that's the sort of thing that you want to take with you, you will have to sort insurance out for that yourselves. And it also includes something, the contribution to the World Scout Jamboree Fund. So the way they sort of work the Jamboree is they band the nations. So the nations that are seen as being more affluent pay more than those that aren't. So part of our fee will go into helping to fund scouts from countries that have less funds to attend the Jamboree. It's something that we've had when we've done our Charnwood events in Leicestershire. We've had scouts turn up from some countries just in the clothes that they have, with no sleeping bags and without anything. And as a county, we've then funded them and supported them through the event. So that's it on cost. The payments that are made are in stages. I'm not sure Gareth's got this as the next one. But what National have said to us is, once payments are made, they are not refundable unless, if you drop out, we can fill your place. So that's how it all stands. What's the next one, Gareth? Is that cost as well? Yeah, onto the fundraising. So the first payment that we have to make links into the national payments. We have to make a payment of £400 per person, so young person and leader, in February. So we haven't been given the date as to whether that's the end of the month, which we're hoping that it is. But as a county, we are not adding any more onto that. So that's the fee that National wants from us for each person, and that is the fee that we are going to be asking for that. What we have done is then we have broken it down into months. So there's a payment in June, one in September, one in November, one in January, so about every 3 months. And that ties in with the payments that we're being asked to make to National for the Jamboree. I mean, obviously we'll give you a little bit more information on that for those that are selected. But we do have a very good finance team at county. And the way it tends to get set out is that each individual will have an account at county. So if you do some fundraising and you want to pay in to come off your total, you give the information, and that is just assigned to you. So it doesn't all go into one big pot. The only fundraising money that would do that is if a group of people all go together and they can't decide how they want to break it up, or if we get a donation perhaps from, I know the Lions have been very good to us in the past, the Masons have given us money in the past, so that's given to the unit. So that sort of funding would be divided equally between everybody. But if we go and do something as a unit, say we manage to get a backpack, we would look at how much time a young person spent there, and then they would get that proportion of the money raised put against their name. So it does work on the basis that if you put in more effort, you get more money out of it. It's possibly quite easy. You know, some people might be able to say, oh, it's going to cost you that much. Can I write a check now to pay for the Jamboree? The fundraising is part of the journey. The young people and us as leaders need to be involved in that. So it's not just seen as handing over a check and off we go. The fundraising does help to build the unit identity, and obviously it helps us, the young people especially, realise the value of the money as well. So on to the fundraising. There are grants that are available. There are a number that are available for Leicestershire within the county, and obviously we'll give you information about those once we have the units selected. National also have a Jamboree fund. It is means tested, but information will come out about that in February. So if there are any of you that think you want to apply, or wanting to apply for that, it's all done in confidence, and the information for that will be out sort of end of January, beginning of February. They are running two, one then, and then another one towards the beginning of 2023. But what they have said is you can't apply for both. The one in 2023 is really for those where their situation has changed in the year. But yeah, there are a number of ones available in Leicestershire that we can give you information about after the selection. A number of schools as well also have funds that young people can apply for. I know one of the secondary schools near to me, they every year they put something out for young people about applying to a trust fund for money. The only other thing that we don't cover, sorry, within the camp fee is young people will need to sort out their own passports, and also as well if we needed any visas. Currently at the minute for Korea we don't. You have to have something called a KETA card, and that works out at about £7. But that's for entry into the country. But they're the sort of thing that we wouldn't cover. And obviously spending money, that is your own your own decision on that one. So passport, the visa, KETA bits, and spending money, and also any extra kit that you want. National will put out a group of branded kit, but obviously if you decide you want to buy that, that's your decision. So fundraising is next, and then next one, Gareth, please. The big COVID question. Is that unfortunately we had to draw the event to a close on Sunday, not because of COVID, but because of the weather. It's typical British, isn't it? We're sort of governed by the weather. COVID, the way the organisers are working, they are putting in a lot of effort to ensure that this Jamboree goes ahead. We have had the European Jamboree cancelled last year, postponed from the year before. There has got to have been a huge degree of certainty that this was going to happen before our National Scout Association would have put the country forward for it. They are doing everything they can to ensure that the event goes ahead. You know, it may be that we end up in individual tents rather than in groups and things like that, but they are working that it will happen. At the moment, the insurance cover that we have for Unity doesn't cover us for COVID. The association are working on that, and I'm sure that we're not the only event that can't get cover for that at the moment. As well, looking at Korea, the recommendation from us, so not just from the leadership team and from me especially, and also from National, is that everybody that goes on the event is vaccinated against COVID. Currently for South Korea, you have to have a COVID vaccination, or when you go into the country, a negative PCR test declaration, and then if you are not vaccinated, you have to quarantine for a number of days. So obviously in our situation, that would mean that if that was still the case in 18 months time, anybody going on the event that wasn't vaccinated would have to quarantine and miss a huge portion of the event. So I think really that the state of this is that if you're not vaccinated or not prepared to be vaccinated, then you really do need to consider whether you continue with your application for this event. Okay. So there's a question come there about money, but we'll answer all those at the end. So what happens now? We have our next selection day on Sunday. we did reduce the day last weekend because of the weather. So we are going to do the same again this week. So we run exactly the same events as we did last Sunday. So as a result of that, we are going to finish earlier this week. We will send an email out, but we're looking at a 4 o'clock there for 4:15 pickup rather than a 6 o'clock. We have had a lot more applications than we have places on the event. I mean, that is absolutely amazing. We weren't the only county that were wondering if we would actually get our 36. A lot of counties were in exactly the same, so we're in exactly the same boat as us. But we have had over 120 applications for 36 places. So unfortunately, quite a lot of you are going to be disappointed, but it's been absolutely amazing that we've had so many. So really, if you don't manage to get in, please don't be disappointed. I know it's upsetting, but we cannot give spaces to everybody, and there aren't any more. We cannot ask for another unit. We are just taking the one unit. We will let you know by the 19th of December if you have been successful. You will get an email that comes out from Richard, who's our ACC International. So you do need around that date to be checking spam and seeing if it's gone into your junk. Okay. Another thing as well that I don't think we've mentioned earlier is you do have to be a member of the Scout Association to attend. So those of you that are in Scouts at the moment, you know, you will be an explorer by the time we go. So if you're thinking, well, I'm not sure whether I want to carry on either as a young leader or as an explorer, then again, you know, seriously consider whether you wish to continue with your application, because you do have to be a member of the Scout Association to go on this event. We have our first unit meeting. Our first unit meeting will be on Sunday, the 16th of January, 2022, and it will be at the county office at LE3, and it will be in the afternoon. So it won't be a whole day. It will just be a few hours on that Sunday afternoon. So again, and at that event, we will give you the dates for our future plans, so our camps and our days that we're planning on getting together. So we're just as a leadership team sort of starting to talk about that, you know, and looking at when exams and things are. We wouldn't dream of putting on a big weekend camp right in the middle of exam time. You know, we've all got experience of planning for these things in the past, so we will try and avoid those milestone moments for you and not put anything horrendous on at those times. I think that's it really. What sort of question? We need to look at the questions, don't we? I think we've got quite a few that have appeared in there.
Okay, so we've got a few questions, Louise. The first one says, cancellation due to COVID, would all money be lost?
We don't know the exact answer to that one. At the moment, it depends how much has been paid in and where it's been paid to. National are hoping, I think, to try and get insurance. Richard, do you know any more about that on the insurance side of things?
At the moment, all the UK is saying, the UK contingent is saying, is they're working with all of their partners to try to protect it. There isn't a clear defined answer, both on the meetings that Louise and the team will have sat on and we've sat on as ACC Internationals. There isn't a defined clear way of doing it. The way it was managed in Poland is that they basically kept costs down to an absolute minimum during their planning to make sure that they basically reduced the risk as far as possible. And that is how we understand that Korea is going about it as well. I think it will be a case of, we will tell you as quickly as we know. I'm just on the FAQs, which was updated last on the 2nd of November. And there isn't a further answer at the moment, other than they are working with partners and the event to try to mitigate costs, so that money isn't wasted should this not be getting ahead.
Okay, so the next question is whether it would be a single or double jab required, and then another one that's sort of like relating to the same thing. There is, if the vaccine requirements for Korea are different to the UK, say they require 2 jabs in Korea and only 1 jab in the UK, what would happen then? How would that work?
Don't know the answer to that at the moment. All I know at the moment is that Korea are asking for people to be vaccinated against COVID. So it's as your current country's requirements are. So if your country requires you 1, then it's 1. If your country requires you to have 2, then it's 2. But if you're not vaccinated, then you have to quarantine. So it will be in relation to ours. And they're also saying that all your mandatory vaccines need to be up to date as well. So, you know, like your childhood vaccines that you have, your standard ones have to be had as well. There is a chance that we may have to have there aren't any other extras at the moment, but they're just considering Hep B and things like that, but that'll come out from national. So it's as our current COVID requirements for the country.
Then the next question is, can we confirm how many places there are versus the 130 applicants? The places are 36 places for young people. So that answers that question. Does the insurance cover all medical and repatriation?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Unity travel insurance is the Scout travel insurance.
Yeah.
So any international events which go ahead, 9 times out of 10 they will have Unity insurance. It's well tested for Scouts, and it is a good insurance policy. It's not a straightforward commercial post office type insurance.
Yeah, no, it does. I'm looking at when it was done for Poland. This does cover repatriation, so and it does cover adventurous activities as well, which is what they'll be doing.
Okay, so there's another question. How would you submit your money, and how do you prove and prove how you raised it?
We don't need proof of how you've raised it. What we would ask you to do is, if you do pay anything into the, we'll send you the details of the account that it needs to be paid in for. And the way we've done it in the past is you put the person's name or initials, the event, and how much. I mean, so it's given an identity. So Lauren, who is the finance officer at county, knows exactly where it's come from and exactly which event it's related to, and then that will just get put to your name. We won't be checking up on how you've raised your money. How you do that is up to you. It will go in under your name at county. Just ask that you keep a record as well as for what you've paid in, because from a leadership point of view, to get sort of questions from 36 people saying, how much have I paid in? I can't remember. You know, that's more work for county. So yes, use that as a check, but you know, you need to keep a record as well as your fundraising.
Okay. So will there be a reserve list in case of dropouts?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, my son went to the last jamboree after somebody had dropped out. So I know it happens. And do selected people have to attend all events?
Yes. Yeah, that's part of the commitment to the event. We don't put on lots. We do give you lots of notice, but we do expect everybody to come to every event. You know, if you're in a team, football team, hockey team, whatever team, you know, you need to talk to the person that runs that and explain that you may have to miss the odd one or two. We try and make it at times that are not going to impinge too much, but we do expect everybody at every event.
Okay. So we mentioned about several thousand UK Scouts hopefully attending. Will all UK contingent travel together?
I don't know. The way they've done it in the past is they all try and leave on the same day, but not necessarily on the same flights and things. But yeah, there's normally a big send-off as well for the whole UK contingent as they go. So they have a big send-off party often, and they will travel on around the same day. But obviously moving $3,500 all through one airport at the same time, you can imagine it's going to be a bit horrendous. But yeah, it will be same day or near enough. So we all get there at about the same time.
Okay, so next question is, how much is typically raised through fundraising?
We do have some people that raise all of it, some people that don't raise much at all. So it's very much up to the individual. For my kids both went on the last jamboree, and I managed to raise enough to send one of them. So I raised probably half for each of them. And I do know people that have raised everything, some that don't bother raising much at all. So it's entirely up to you as to how much you raise.
Yeah, it's the effort you put in. We still managed to raise quite a bit for Joe in a short space of time. Not enough, but we did all right. But it's the effort you put in. I think if you are willing to put in that extra effort for the fundraising, and the fundraising events are not compulsory. But if you're going to put the effort in, you could raise everything that you need to go. Okay. Oh, let's just get the nails. At what point by what approximate date are any successful applicants committed to the full cost, even if they have to drop out?
It's really, as long as we can get someone to replace you, you will get some of it back. Obviously, so the stuff that you've paid for pre-event camps and things, that money you will lose because you've been on that camp. If you've got your hoodie or your badges and things like that, you know, you will have worn that hoodie. We don't want that back. So, you know, you will lose some of it. But if you have to drop out, we will get you back as much as we can. And depending on the reason, then obviously there is the insurance there as well for some things if we need to claim through that. But it just depends on the reason for dropping out. Excuse me. Did that answer that? Yeah, I think that was okay.
Yeah, and Richard's put something in the comments with regards to COVID. So if anybody wants to have a look in the chat for that, there's a bit in there. So did all applicants miss the opportunity to teach a skill at last week's selection day?
Yeah, because it snowed on us.
It snowed at the point we were supposed to be doing that.
Yeah, that was one of the things we were doing in the last session. So yeah, that didn't happen. So we're not planning on doing that this week, this Sunday, but you never know, we might, you know, if you have a few 5 minutes, spare 5 minutes.
I definitely think it's something that we should do on one of our meetups though.
Yeah, we will, yeah.
Okay. So whilst on the Jamboree, will all scouts be able to communicate back home? Internet cafe, access to postbox?
Yeah, again, we don't know how that's going to work, but yeah, phones will be, they'll be able to have the phones, there'll be places to get them charged up. We will have communicate, whether it's by Facebook or various other means of social media, so we can keep you updated as to what's going on. But yeah, they will be able to communicate with you.
Don't expect many calls though.
No.
Son had his phone for America. He had credit on it, but he didn't call us an awful lot. He was having far too much fun.
Yeah.
But I did track him on his phone, so I knew where he was on the site.
So yeah, we will update you with putting posts on different things. See, there's a question there about somebody leaving Scouts and there's an Explorer unit. They do have to be a member of the Scout Association to go. That's not an option to go if you're not a member of the Scouts. So there needs to be an Explorer if they're that age or a young leader.
Okay, so somebody else has put, if it's cancelled due to COVID, would it be postponed to the following year? I don't think that's a question we can answer.
No, we don't know.
Okay, if you make any extra money from fundraising, will it be used on the Jamboree?
You can use it as you're spending money if you make any extra money. do with it what you wish. It's your money. But if you've raised, if you've raised your full amount, then I suppose really you don't keep raising for yourself, do you? Whether you want to, if you're brilliant at it, if you want to start donating it to the unit, then that would be brilliant. If you're that good at the fundraising, that would be amazing. But yeah, you've got your spending money and stuff like that. So
yeah, I do know of a participant that managed to raise enough to go and covered some of the extra kit that they wanted to buy.
Yeah.
To take with them and for spending money as well. So
there's one there about how much spending money is advised. That'll be a discussion that we have nearer the time. I mean, you will get fed, you'll get all your food, your transport costs are all included. So the money that you need when you are there is for, your sweeties, your ice creams, your bits of kit that you perhaps want to buy, sort of jamboree specific. So it is purely just spending money for you. It will not be for your living costs. That will all be obviously paid already into your in your unit fees.
okay, so one of the things here we've got is fundraising a group unit activity, or do you raise money sole or both? And are there usually any group fundraising activities? So there's 2 questions there about that.
It's all of it, isn't it, really? Yeah, we will do some group fundraising events. People, if they're in certain parts of the county, might get themselves set up as a, I'm in Ashby and Colville, so there may be an Ashby and Colville fundraiser, or there may be an Ashby and Colville and Loughborough joining together to do fundraising together. So it's all of those. We will do some unit events, but fundraising is not going to be just our responsibility. It's not our responsibility to fundraise for you or your money. You need to do that yourselves as well, and set up groups to do fundraising.
Yeah, sort of groups of parents together or groups of young people can do effective fundraising when you sort of like put your heads together.
I like that one. What is the luggage limit we can take? You will be given a bag from National. It's what you can fit in your bag. I don't know what the luggage limit is. It depends on what flights we go on, but we will be given that information from National nearer the time.
Okay, so we've had a question about, can we use childcare vouchers? I don't think we can we?
Not as far as I know. We never have done in the past.
Yeah.
So no.
Not unless the rules have changed. Certainly the last time I got asked the question or we researched it, the Scout Association isn't classed under Ofsted as something that you can use.
Yeah. Okay. So what date does the final balance need to be paid by?
June. The final balance to National is June 2023. So that's the actual camp fee. We will probably have ours at around the same time. It's not really going to be any later than that. So it will be June 2023. So just before we go. Hopefully, if we've managed to get the fees down a lot more, then the final payment will be quite low, hopefully.
Okay, so we've got another question here about is what if your child is due to leave Scout soon, but their troop doesn't currently have any explorers to join?
If they're not an explorer, then or a young leader, that's the same question. If they're not a member of the Scout Association, then they cannot go. So if they're not going to join an explorer unit, then they need to, I suppose, really withdraw their application now if they're not going to be in an explorer unit.
They could join another explorer unit that's just close by. We will be asking that people maintain and continue to be current members of explorers and participating members, so not just registered and not turning up throughout the process, but you could just find your next nearest and join their explorers.
Yeah, or registered as an Explorer Scout young leader as well, because that's still an explorer unit. Okay, so the question is, will they need to bring their equipment for the skill on Sunday or not? As we've said, I don't think we're going to do that activity now, are we, Louise?
No, I think we probably won't have time.
The other group didn't get the chance to do it, so I don't think we're going to have a chance to do that this Sunday as well. Okay, so there's a bit about asking about spending money again. Does the jamboree goes towards anything? I'm assuming that's going to be towards sort of like the higher awards and badge work.
Yeah, it does. We haven't really got a lot of time to talk about that. Definitely it goes towards your diamond, your platinum. You can use it towards queens if you're on that. Yeah, certainly. And stuff that we're doing running up to jamboree we'll do as well. We'll do quite a lot on the youth shaped awards that have just come out. Promise to the Planet. Yes, definitely. There's loads that we'll cover.
Yeah, when we have camps, you'll own your nights away. Obviously, you will need to feed back the activities you've done to your unit and to your Explorer leaders, just to make sure that you are covered for any badges that you're working towards. But as leaders, we can sign it off or let your Explorer leaders know, as long as they're asked or we're asked. So luggage allowance, you've asked that. What is the selection criteria for the final group? How are you choosing who should go to the jamboree?
The selection criteria for the final group is the same as we had last Sunday. We're not really going to say any more than that, really, because if we say exactly what we're looking for, that gives the ones on Sunday an advantage over the ones that came last Sunday. But the criteria will be the same.
Yeah. So all the selection days a process of elimination? So I think we're using, it's not a process of elimination, is it? No,
because we're looking at things that we're putting on the application form as well. So
yeah, we're looking at everything.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have a very difficult few hours making the decisions.
Yeah.
Okay, so Richard's put something on the chat with regards to childcare voucher, so if you want to have a look at that. Roughly how many events will be held in the run-up, and what kind of thing will they be?
Between about 6 and 8, that sort of number. We will do weekend camps, possibly not full weekends, possibly just Saturday and an overnight into a Sunday. We will move around the county, so we'll try and look at where everybody is. We've got people from all over the county that have applied, so we will try and move the events around. So travelling distance is different each time. We will have some just separate afternoons. There's lots of things that we'll do. Like we're going to start with a Sunday afternoon at LE3, just for everybody to get to know each other. Possibly do a couple of those to start with, and then we'll perhaps start looking at the first camp is likely to be sort of March, April time next year. For that, we'll ask you to bring your own tents for that. But you know, most of you are scouts or explorers, so I'm sure can borrow a hike tent from somewhere. But we'll sort all that out when we get a bit nearer, and we can borrow tents and things if we need to. But there will be quite a few camps, two, three, possibly slightly more, and then we may even go further afield when we get a bit nearer the event. But that, you know, we will talk to you all about that and decide how we're going to do that when we've got the unit together. But we're looking at about between 6 and 8 probably. Is that fair? That's about right, isn't it? The dates will be, as I said in the presentation, we've given you the first date, which is the 16th of January. We will sort out the dates before then, and then we will publish them on that weekend for the remaining dates. If we can get them out to you before then, we will do, but they will definitely be out by that day.
Okay, so do we have any more questions? Okay, I think the last question we got was how soon will we know the dates, and as you've already said, Louise, we'll sort of said January anyway. So we said that all successful applicants must attend all of the preparation camps events. If they miss any for health reasons, would they then be excluded? No, not for health reasons.
We'd have to look at each one individually, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
But we don't want the events being seen as, oh, I can't be bothered to come that weekend because I want to go out with my mates. You know, it is 36 young people that don't know each other. We need to get everybody to become part of that team so that when we go on the jamboree, we are working as a unit that's going to be effective. rather than all just turn up and not know anybody. So it is important that they do come along.
Yeah, and they will get to know each other and they'll make friends for life as part of this event. I know there's quite a few other Jamboree participants that have helped my son get through lockdown. It's been fab. So they will make great friends, and part of that are the pre-camps and the pre-events. It's getting to know each other, it's working together. It's building those friendships because they'll support each other while they're away as well.
It will change them. Going on a World Jamboree will change that young person. They will come back different to how they went. And I can say that not just as a leader, but as a parent whose children have been on a World Jamboree. They changed over that process and dramatically. So it will change them.
Okay, all right. So one of the other comments we've got, bearing in mind that obviously they've had the selection days, you found out a bit more information. If there is anybody that thinks they won't want to go any further, can you please let us know via email? Okay, so will all events be in term time to avoid clashes with holes already booked?
We will try to. I mean, we all work as well, so we will try and avoid things like bank holidays, main summer holidays, and stuff like that. But you know, we have to do it as when we can fit them in as well within our work practice. We aren't employed by the Scout Association. We're all volunteers. We all have day jobs that we need to do. So yeah, we will try and avoid the peak holiday periods if we can. We're not going to put a camp right in the middle of the July fortnight or the start of the summer holidays, you know, but we have to fit it in around us as well, and that's why we're hoping to give you lots of notice for when they already are. Okay.
So that's it. We've had a thank you. So thank you, really useful.
Okay, everybody. So I mean, if you've got any more questions, then do ping them through. Those of you who are coming on Sunday, again, if you've got any questions at the end of that, then sort of grab us at the end, and we can try and answer them. We don't know all the answers so far. You know, we've got a lot to pick up on, and there's still a lot to be organised. But thanks everybody for joining us this evening.
Somebody says it sounds amazing. I'm hoping so. I'm really
hoping so.
I can't wait. My son came back full of it, which is why I applied to be a leader. I want a bit of the same amount of fun.
Okay, everyone. Thanks, then.
So somebody's asked if we'll be sharing the recording with everyone. Gareth, am I right in thinking the link to a recording will be emailed out? Just put your feet, yeah. Recording will be uploaded to the unit's Facebook page or on the county website.